Hi, this is Mrs. Sykes, and we're going to have a look at how we can treat coronary heart disease and other issues with our heart. As a general rule, coronary heart disease is preventable and very treatable. All you need to do is find what the problem is and replace the part that is damaged. So, first thing that we're going to have a look at is the natural pacemaker. This is in the right atrium. It tells your heart the right time to beat, and it allows your body to speed up your heart rate when you need a faster supply of oxygen and glucose, or to slow it down when you're resting. Now, in a normal circumstance, your natural pacemaker does this for you and responds to everything that is going on. However, this can become damaged, and if it does, your heart doesn't know when it should be beating. It can beat irregularly, go really fast, or stop, or beat a little bit and then stop a little bit. Without a pacemaker to keep it at the right pace, your heart cannot control its beating. It will beat, but not necessarily at the right point. So, if you have problems with your pacemaker, what we can do is you can insert an artificial one, a little machine under your skin, and that will send wires to the same place as it would have done in the heart, to the right atrium, and it will tell the heart when to beat. So if the natural pacemaker is damaged, you can replace it by an artificial one. And the artificial pacemaker does exactly the same job as the natural pacemaker. It tells the heart when to beat. It will only tell it to beat at a general steady rate. So somebody with an artificial pacemaker may struggle with exercise because they cannot get their heart to beat faster during exercise like they normally would. But it will keep them alive, and it will keep them with a steady flow of oxygen and glucose around their body. Artificial pacemakers are really easy to put in, and they last for quite a decent amount of time, and they fix the problem. Other things that we have are coronary heart disease. Now, coronary heart disease is all about these coronary arteries. Coronary means to do with the heart. And the coronary arteries are not the ones here or inside the chambers. These are the small ones on the outside of the heart. If the coronary arteries become narrowed or blocked, then you can't deliver the oxygen and the glucose that you need for respiration. So this line here, these two lines, represents one of these coronary arteries zoomed in. If you have an unhealthy lifestyle, for example, and you have a diet high in cholesterol and high in fat, low in exercise, what may start to happen is you have fat building up on the inside of your arteries. Now, your arteries, for all intensive purposes, are pipes. So things are flowing through them the entire time. The plasma with the red blood cells and everything else inside. But if you have too much fat building up over time, what may start to happen is it may become difficult for the red blood cells to squeeze through. If it becomes so narrow that they cannot pass through at all, and the red blood cells become stuck, you are no longer providing oxygen to the cells that would have been on the other side of this artery. If you're no longer providing oxygen, that means respiration can no longer take place, and you cannot provide what we need. So, if we have this fatty buildup inside the coronary arteries, it can form a blockage. So, ways that we can fix it. First off, fix your diet, exercise more. If you exercise and you fix your diet, in general, fat is lost from the body. And it will be eventually deposited less inside this coronary artery, and the plaque itself may begin to break down. In general, fixing your exercise and fixing your diet will stop it getting any worse. The other thing that you can do is you can force this pipe to stay as wide as you can get it. So you're pushing it open and keeping it open. To do this, we use something called a stent. Now, a stent, quite a nifty little device. It a little bit like a temporary tubing. You put on the inside of your artery a little device that's made of wire mesh, and it forces these walls to stay open. It forces this gap to stay wide so that it's big enough to allow the red blood cells to go through. It's actually really, really interesting the way they do this. They send the stent collapsed on a teeny tiny little balloon. So they put it in one of your veins up through your heart to the right place in your heart, and then they inflate the balloon, and as they inflate the balloon, the stent opens up and it stays open. And then they take the balloon away and take all the pipes away, and you're left with a stent on the inside which is holding open your coronary artery. So you've still got the scar tissue and the fat and all the rest of the stuff, but this pipe is kept open. And if the pipe is open, the blood can flow, you won't have any more problems. There are other things that can go wrong with your heart as well. You can have issues with your valves in here. These can become damaged. If your heart valve becomes damaged, you put an artificial one in. So you would have heart surgery, and they would replace that faulty valve with a new one. In fact, what you could do if your heart was very, 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 very damaged is you can actually have a heart transplant. They would take out your heart and put a new one in its place. So instead of just fixing the pump, replacing it and putting a new one in. The other thing that you can do is called a coronary bypass, which we don't really need to know a great deal about. But if this bit here, for example, was blocked, you could put in a new blood vessel to go around the blockage and provide blood to the other part of your heart. So pacemakers fix problems with the speed at which the heart is beating, but it won't fix any of these others. The stent will hold open that individual coronary artery, and it will keep the blood flowing through that individual coronary artery. But it wouldn't fix an issue with pace, and it wouldn't fix an issue with the heart valve, but it would fix this, and it would make things like a heart attack far less likely. You can replace an artificial valve if that is damaged, but that obviously wouldn't fix the pacemaker issue, and it wouldn't fix the coronary heart disease issue either, but it can fix the valve. Taking out the heart and replacing it with a new one, in theory, should fix everything, but that's obviously major surgery. Finding a donor can be very, very complicated, and you've got problems with rejection. But all of these ways should fix the problems